Hello everyone, good evening and welcome to Roma Theory. We are almost back, my friends. We're almost back for the final rush. It's the final countdown. Ta-da-da-da. Ta-da-da-da-da. I just remembered I sang this song in the Europa League final match preview and we ended up losing. So maybe I shouldn't sing this song. But it's a final rush. We're back. This international break came and went in a blink. In literally 3 seconds, we're out of this international break. The team got back training today. Apart from Lukaku, who played yesterday against England and bagged. What a crazy assist he bagged, by the way. And then also Paredes, who is still in the United States with Argentina. Apart from these two players, the team is back. Mancini and all the Italian lads, Pellegrini, they're back training today because on Sunday we have got a very important game to restart with the right path, to restart with the right foot, and to not lose what we built in these 2.5 months under De Rossi in what will be a very crazy and difficult and complicated calendar. We're not gonna hide that, but yeah, today, my friends, I want to speak about dream signings. I want to speak about dream signings because number one, kids out there, even if you're a grown-up, dreaming is big, of course. When I make these videos, I always want to stay and stick in the realistic brackets. It would be very easy for me to say, oh, well, my dream signing is Kylian Mbappe. I know, that is everybody's dream signing. Most probably impossible, it will not happen. So when we do these videos, we do need to keep the realistic note of things. But I think there are a lot of players which I consider dream signings, and they are very realistic players, and we're going to speak about today. I feel like the last time we had a chance to speak about the transfer window was a long time ago, so it's the perfect time to do it. Again, if you've got any questions, if you want to interact in the chat, feel free to do so. And then at the end, we'll have some time for some comments. But yeah, look, dream signing number one is Joshua Zirkzee for me. I think he is a player which a lot of us will put in the dream list. I feel like he's a player which a lot of us are going to be interested in, because he's playing so well and he is showing that he can be such a prolific and such an amazing player that this summer there's going to be a long ass queue to try and sign him. He's going to leave Bologna. I have no doubts about that. I think we need to place ourselves in this queue. Now again, whether we sign him or not is going to be very complicated, because I think the competition, both in the foreign market and in Italian market, is going to be very, very, very saturated. I think everybody will try and get Zirkzee, including Bayern Munich, who do have a buyback clause. They could trigger that buyback clause and put it back in their team. Or, I mean, if Bayern Munich don't want to keep Zirkzee because they've got Harry Kane and they've got these options, they could trigger the buyback clause and you know, resell him, because his value has skyrocketed. His value has massively increased. His value has gone from what, 20 million to 70 million minimum in these last 5 months. So the competition is going to be big. But again, it's a dream signing. We can't hide that. There are other dream signings, which I'm going to talk about in a second, but I think Zirkzee is more than a striker. I think when I look at Bologna this season, maybe it's the way Bologna play, of course, but when I look at Zirkzee, I fall in love with the player he is. Correct me if I'm wrong, and please don't tell me I'm the only one, but the way he plays is gold to everyone's eyes. No matter if you support Bologna or not, Zirkzee is an unbelievable player. I would say, and I'm not going to say this because, you know, he's a one-season special, don't get too hyped. I am very fond of the idea that there are one-season special strikers and, in fact, players all around the world. I could name you a few one-season special players which maybe at the end of last season I would have gone, oh yeah, definitely buy them, and now I'm like, no, don't get them anywhere near my team. I think Guirassy from Stuttgart, great player, but I think he's a one-season wonder. And another big example, which is probably the best example when we do speak about one-season wonders, is Boulaye Dia. At the end of last summer, when Salernitana saved themselves from relegation, and they were playing really well at the end of the season, every single team in Italy, a lot of teams in the Premier League, every single fan were like, get Boulaye Dia, is an amazing striker. You look at this season, number one, you look at the attitude. Number one, you look at the injury crisis. Number three, you look at the way he's been determined and changing these games, and he's not been good. Zirkzee is not a one-season special at all, in my opinion. Zirkzee, in my opinion, this season has been his breakthrough season. And after this season, he's going to become a phenomenal player. He's going to become one of the best strikers out there. He's young, he's a next-gen striker. He is going to be one of the best future strikers out there. I have no doubt about this. This is why it's going to be very complicated to sign him. And number two, the competition for Joshua Zirkzee this summer is going to be immense. I want us to try. Of course, I want us to try. I want us to try for several players. But what I was saying before is, Zirkzee is more than a striker. You look at the way he moves, you look at the technique he has. Zirkzee is by far the most technical striker in this league. And most importantly, you look at contributions. Of course, when you look at a striker, you ask him goals. You demand from him goals over goals over goals. And I fully agree. That is what that's what a fan, a football manager, any person looks when they look at a striker. No doubt. But I also look at what a striker brings to games. I think the fact that he's a contribution merchant. Okay, yeah, he might not score 20 goals every season. He might not even score 15 goals every season. But what Zirkzee brings in one football game is immaculate. He brings an assist. He brings a decisive play which leads to a goal. And that, especially with the way De Rossi wants to play, is going to be key. I think it's going to be key. To have a pivotal striker who will act around the players and not only score goals, of course that's what you need to do, but assist players around you. Assist players, make the others score a goal. Look at Bologna this season. Why is it that every single game that Bologna plays, they have a different player scoring? One game it's Zirkzee, one game it's Ndoye, one game it's Orsolini, one game it's Calafiori. It's because it's the result of having a pivotal striker which also plays setting the play up. And I think that's massive. That's a very different striker to what Lukaku is. To give you a current comparison with the striker we currently have, Lukaku isn't a pivotal striker. Lukaku is a striker that you place in the box because of his weight, because of his mass. You stick the ball in the box and hope that with his physique, with his sense of positioning, maybe with his head, even though Lukaku isn't really good with his head, he can put it at the back of the net. You cannot rely on Lukaku. You can't give Lukaku the ball and rely on him on making Dybala score. Absolutely not, because Lukaku's technique is terrible. You look at what Zirkzee does. You give him the ball, he makes everybody score. He makes everybody have chances. He assists everybody around him. And I admire him. I think he's phenomenal. I think he's absolutely phenomenal. So he is number one, my dream signing. People might ask, and I did ask this in the fan forum today, would you reject Lukaku to sign Joshua Zirkzee on a permanent move? I wouldn't even think about that, my friends. I like Lukaku, and I think Lukaku this season played a big part in this team. But yes, I would get Zirkzee and reject Lukaku, because I think number one, you look at age. Number two, you look at what Lukaku is great, but Lukaku's not good in big games. You look at Zirkzee this season. He's performing. He scored against Lazio, scored against Atalanta, scored against Inter. It's just, he's a really good player. So he's number one, my dream signing. But adding on other players, because again, it would be boring for me to just stick with one dream signing. I'm going to do something which I don't normally do, but I'm going to launch this statement. This summer, I think we can all agree that the Bologna team is going to get dismantled. I think we all agree on this. I think that and that is exactly why, again, fair play to them. If I was a Bologna fan, I'd be living an absolute dream. But that is why, deep down, Bologna should just stick to Europa League football and not try and get Champions League. Of course, this is wrong, and I'm going to say this as a Roma fan because I want Roma to get in the Champions League. But Bologna in the Champions League next season is going to be a fail. They are just going to fail. Because most likely they won't even have Thiago Motta on that bench. Zirkzee is going to leave. Ferguson is going to leave. Calafiori is going to leave. Their team is going to get dismantled. And they are going to get last in that group stage, for sure. It's hard to say this, and it's hard to accept this as a Bologna fan. In fact, you shouldn't accept this if you're a Bologna fan. But deep down, Bologna should focus on Europa League more than trying to get the Champions League and then go out of the group stages. But again, that's a biased thought. But what I'm going to say is, this summer, whichever team manages to dismantle the Bologna team the most, I think is going to have a big chance of winning the league. What I mean by this is, let's say Inter Milan, Juventus, Roma, Napoli, and who did I miss? Yeah. Let's imagine that these teams have a race on whoever can sign the most players from Bologna. Whoever of these teams manages to sign the most players from the Bologna team is going to have a massive lead on winning the league. Because, for example, if you're Roma, again, you're going to have financial troubles and all of that. But if I am Roma and I need a defender in the transfer window, I need a midfielder in the transfer window, and I need a striker in the transfer window, it is going to be extremely beneficial for me to sign a defender, a midfielder, and a striker all from the same team. That's not going to happen because we don't have the money for it. What I'm trying to say here is we should target Bologna players because Bologna players are playing very well this season. If you bring a lot of those players in another team, they already know how to play around each other, the chemistry that they'll have. Of course, then they have to adapt to other players, new players around in that team. But if we need a defender this summer, if we need to buy and want to focus on a long-term project and therefore a long-term investment, if you're smart, what do? You buy Calafiori. If you're smart, you buy Calafiori. Again, we were dumb because we let Calafiori go when he was in our sleeve. Calafiori was literally in our sleeve 2 years ago, not even 10 years ago. The season we won the Conference League with Mourinho, Calafiori was in our sleeve. And we let this slip away from us. Because we are idiots when it comes to treating and just handling jewels coming from our youth setup. We're just, we could be in the Guinness World Record of being so dumb. Because we had Calafiori in our fucking sleeve. And now, look at the way he plays. Look at how quickly he's developed into a completely new position. And most importantly, now, if you want Calafiori, you're going to have to pay minimum 30 million to sign him. When 2 years ago, he was in our team. And we decided to let him go. So, if you're smart, but again, if you're Roma, you can't be smart because you had him 2 years ago on your team. And therefore, instead of spending money, you could have literally kept him. But if any team is smart and needs a defender, centre-back, you buy Calafiori. If a team this summer needs a midfielder and doesn't want to spend too much money but wants a competitive midfielder who has proven himself to be a fundamental leader and a very good player, who do you sign? Lewis Ferguson from Bologna. And this is my dream list of transfers this summer. I don't want every single Bologna player, but I want one. I'd be happy with one. Dream would be two. I want some Bologna players because these Bologna players are incredible. And Thiago Motta and De Rossi Ball, in the long term, are going to be very similar. Of course, Thiago Motta and Bologna right now play better than us because Thiago Motta's had an entire preseason with that team. De Rossi's had, 70 days. So of course Bologna play better than us right now in terms of style. But that's the direction we want to head to if we want to keep De Rossi. So a lot of the players that fit in that Bologna system could fit in very well. Another player that I absolutely like and I would love in my team, Fabian. Italian, young, coming from the Inter setup, youth setup. Bologna have got so many duos that I think it would be greedy not to be interested in a few. Again, Zirkzee of course is like the Mount Everest around all the small mountains. But they have got so many players that can make the difference, or young, or unknown player. Why is that? And this kind of links back to our general director. Sartori, Bologna's director, is a genius. He is a genius. You look at that, you look at this Bologna team, the fact that it came out of nowhere, and the fact that 10 out of 11 Bologna starting players until last season were unknown players, and you look at the fact that they are fourth. Okay, yes, the Serie A might not be the Premier League in terms of competition, but the Serie A is a very competitive league. And the fact that Bologna is second ahead of Napoli, Roma, Atalanta, Lazio, who have 10 times the budget that Bologna have, is impressive and in what you should copy. So, dream signings, Zirkzee on top, Ferguson, Fabian and Calafiori. These are my dream signings for this summer window. I'm not asking for all of them because I'd be a clown asking for all of them. It's like opening Christmas gifts of your sister. No, those are her gifts. Unless you're 3 years old, you don't open other people's gifts. You stick with your gifts. But I want some of these players. I don't want all of them. I know I can't get all of them. But one, maybe two. Fabian, Calafiori. I want Calafiori, but I'm also tempted to say not to buy Calafiori back, just so we can learn from our mistakes. But Bologna have got incredible talents. The team is going to get dismantled. A lot of these players are going to sign for big teams. I think it would be greedy not to be interested in a few. And that's it. That is my transfer dream list. Getting players from Bologna. Goodmanson is another interesting one, yes. Goodmanson is an amazing player. I would buy Goodmanson, however, if Dybala leaves. If Dybala leaves, I would buy Goodmanson. But if Dybala stays, I wouldn't buy Goodmanson. Because if Dybala stays, we technically, also with Baldanzi coming in, we don't have a priority of signing that position. So, if Dybala stays, I'd rather we spend a lot of money on a player like Zirkzee or on a player like Calafiori instead of on a player like Goodmanson, who is going to feel immense competition with Dybala if he stays. If Dybala leaves, I agree. But especially if we stick with De Rossi, if with Mourinho it was one thing, because Mourinho played with a 3-5-2 or 3-4-2-1, and therefore creative players were key in that system. I think the way De Rossi wants to play, you need to set up a base, because it's a formation that we've not been using much lately. And you need fast players in the way that Rossi wants to play. So, yeah. To give you a comparison, Mourinho liked playing from the middle. I think De Rossi likes playing from the wide. But a lot of these players that I listed, are players which do fit the 4-3-3 system. I look at Ferguson, box to box, Calafiori, of course, and Zirkzee as well. So, yeah. That's it. Let's read some comments. Hey Simo, do you find content creating stressful? I do, yes, I do. I think it would be a lie not to say so. That's actually a very interesting question. I do find it stressful. I think there's a few reasons behind that. I think the fact that I still go to school, I find it stressful because, now that I've built a community, I feel the urgency to post every single day. When it comes to these things, I am a psychopath. If I miss out a day, or if I miss out a 20-minute live stream in a day, I go insane. Because I feel like, shit, no. My community, my fans, they're disappointed in me. So I think breaking the rhythm gets me crazy. And obviously the fact that I've got schoolwork to focus on, sometimes I really do have a lot of homework. It is stressful, fitting live streams, videos, editing, content creating in as well, when you have to focus on school and all of that. That's the number one reason why I do find it stressful. Number two, I find it very stressful because sometimes there are parts of there are just months, weeks, even days, specific days of the year where where I'm not satisfied with the content I make. I don't know how to explain this, but there are I fluctuate a lot in terms of attitude towards this YouTube channel because there are videos and there are live streams and stadium vlogs, the way I edit some stadium vlogs, which I'm like, wow, this is really good. When I edit a video or when I rewatch some of these live streams, the number one thing that I ask myself is, am I bored watching this? And if the answer is yes, then I'm disappointed. But yeah, no, I think it is stressful. I need to be, yeah, you see what I mean? Sometimes I'm not happy. Sometimes I question the content I make. Do the people like it? Do the people enjoy it? There are other reasons. I can name them all. I've got no problem saying this. But, another reason, for example, is there's this part of me when I'm stressful. There's this, like that weird stomach ache which tells me I need to film better content. But at the same time, obviously, filming better content requires a higher budget. Of course, I do have a fixed budget for YouTube, thanks to you guys and all of that, to buy stadium tickets and all of that. But sometimes to make the best content regarding Roma, around the Roma environment, I just sometimes can't do it because the budget isn't immense. So I'm like, this thing is stopping me. So I need to find other ways to try and film the similar content, but decreasing the budget. So that's definitely another thing. And then the last thing, which I think is the most important reason, is sometimes I question if I make people, you guys watching these videos, entertained. Entertainment is the number one thing. I said this last week when I filmed the Alea Pilgrim video on Saturday and then got back home, edited on Sunday, and then all of a sudden Alea Pilgrim reposted the story on her Instagram stories, going loved the video, laughing emoji. Her editor, her personal videographer, sent us a message going, great stuff guys, enjoy the video so much. Elia Pilgrim's boyfriend Okafor sent me, those things are things which make me so hyped, because the number one thing for a content creator is entertaining you guys. So if I entertain a famous person, I'm over the moon. I'm like, oh my god, I'm challenge complete, so mission complete. But yeah, and also sometimes I'm like, what do I want to film? Because of course these live streams are daily, they're now part of my routine. I go live after I do my homework, before going to eat. But sometimes I really want to step up the game, and I'm like, what can I do that is entertaining to film and entertaining for people to watch? And I think that Alea Pilgrim challenge and the outcomes of that challenge made me realize that entertaining challenges are really good. So I want to implement more of these entertaining challenges into Roma Theory as well. Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I'm a psychopath when it comes to these things. I'm not that stressful when it comes to school. Of course I'm stressful about school. Everybody's stressed about school, but what really stresses me out is this YouTube thing, and the fact that not many English Roma fan channels are out there, and kind of realizing that this community that I created and this channel that I created is the biggest Roma English YouTube channel. I also feel responsibilities, Yes, okay, we're still a small community, but 11,000 subscribers isn't that small when you look at things. And I'm like, if somebody doesn't speak Italian and wants to know about Roma, they come to me. So I need responsibility to make them entertained. But I could go on speaking about this for ages because I really like speaking about this. And I love what I do. We need a winger. I think Stefan El-Shaarawy should transition to super sub next season. Rafa from Benfica may go on a free this summer. He's a very good player, I agree with you. Besides that, fullback should be priority. We need a youth that looks promising. The young right back from Fiorentina looks good. You mean Coyote? Kyle Walker-Peters from Southampton is underrated. Are we still restricted by FFP? Unfortunately, yes, mate. If Sassuolo goes down this season, would it be worth it to throw a bid for him? For who? Do you believe he would be disruptive in the locker room given that his similar role to Dybala or Pellegrini? Who do you mean, Berardi? Yes, unfortunately we are, but if we qualify for Champions League, we should be able to spend around... If we qualify for the Champions League, mate, I can tell you as a matter of fact that we're going to have a 60 million budget. Because I've been told this. That's exactly why Champions League is so important. Because if we qualify in the Champions League, we've got a 60 million fixed budget that we can spend without focusing on selling players to hire that budget. The way Zirkzee touches the ball, I haven't seen such a silky touch since Baggio and Mancini. Good point. Funny thing is, Nico Schira, reliable, said Lewis Ferguson and Calafiori are both favourite to head to Juventus. Yeah, no, the competition is going to be big, no doubt. Daje Yannick. My favourite YouTuber by far, Forza Roma. Thank you, mate. Love these comments. Is Lukaku staying? I'm not sure. You get paid a bit, not much. But yeah, I'm going to talk to you soon tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday. When are we playing? We're playing on a Saturday or a Sunday? I think we're playing on a Sunday. So yeah, match preview. Match previews are back. We're back going this weekend. So Tour de Force, final rush. Let's get Champions League and Forza Roma sempre. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe to the channel. If we can get 80 likes in this video, it would be absolutely amazing. In fact, 90 likes in this video would be absolutely amazing. If you're watching this and you haven't yet subscribed, what are you waiting for? Hit the like, subscribe. I meant Berardi. Yes, I think he fits the Rossi system. So I would maybe prepare a bit for him. But yeah, I'll talk to you soon. Love you. Simo out.